Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. This is Mr. Shakespeare again with you on the 16th of February, 2023. I'm not feeling brilliant, but how are you doing today, please?
Oh, I feel so sorry for you. I'm so sorry you're not well. Crummy business. It's been a rough couple of weeks for a lot of people I know. It hasn't been smooth sailing. It must be something in the alignment. Myself included. So I'm sorry you're not well. Hopefully you recover over the weekend and be right as rain on Monday.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Poor thing.
Okay, right. Now, this story came out a few days ago. It's been suppressed pretty much everywhere. This guy is Seymour Hersh. He's a world-class Pulitzer Prize winning investigative journalist who's been around for a very long time. He's done some major exposés in his life. He's top-notch. He's probably the best in the world. And he looked into the bombing of the Nordstream 2 pipeline, and it was interesting the conclusions that he came out with. Conclusions that he came out with is that America did it. Joe Biden authorized it back in September, I believe, 2021. So this is before the Ukraine-Russia war. But I don't think the pipeline was attacked until after that started. So I'm not sure exactly when that was, but it was after 24th of September. So can you get a connection with him, please, Liz?
Yes, I do have a connection with him. He's a very intelligent man.
What does he think about the fact that his story, which is of global significance, is being suppressed pretty much everywhere, about the Nord Stream 2 pipeline?
What do you think about your story being suppressed? Typical. He's not surprised.
Okay.
He knows that's what the White House, he says, does best. They are in control of what information is released and what information is suppressed. This information spells disaster for the presidency and the Democratic Party. And he says they just keep it quiet. Where did he release this information? Do you know?
Yeah, he had a Substack. He couldn't get it released on any major publication. Even though in the past everything he's ever done has been released on the New York Times or whatever, but they wouldn't touch this story.
Okay.
So he had to release it in a Substack.
And by Substack, you mean?
It's an online blog, so it would be something, I don't know, but it would be something like seymourhersh.substack.com. You know, it's a platform where people, and Cliff High uses it a lot, Substack. A lot of people use it.
Okay.
It's just an online, blog thing that you control.
Okay. What did you try to release this story to the major newspapers? No, he didn't try to release it to the major newspapers. And I'm saying, why? He said, because he would be condemned. And I'm saying, but you used to write for the New York Times. And he says, that's correct. And you didn't even try to pitch it to the New York Times. Now he's laughing at me. He's laughing at me. He's like, no way. What about like the Washington Post or any of those places? Yes. So did you try to pitch it to any of these newspapers? No, he didn't, because he didn't want them to twist the story. And he's telling me that most of them would never publish anything like this anyway. He says they'll say it has too many flaws to be published. Right. This could be like suicide for a paper to go against its own government in this way. So, reporting over here is very different to reporting around the world, right? Around the world, and it's, in the UK, France, Germany, it is very well accepted to be hypercritical of the government. And these things would be reported all the time. But in the US, he's telling me we can't report that. He actually has an admiration for other countries and their reporting systems. And I understand what he means by this.
Right. Okay. But essentially what he's describing is an act of war by America against, well, Germany, possibly Russia, but definitely Germany, because the whole point of this was to stop oil and gas flowing to Germany from Russia.
Why do you think the US did this? They wanted to cause trouble. What cause trouble for who? Germany. Okay, but who do you think they were trying to pin the blame on? He's like, it doesn't matter who they're pinning the blame on. They've done it. So that's his own personal thought, feeling, and opinion. But I'm saying, do you think that they were trying to make it look like Russia blew the pipeline? Absolutely. Okay. And you're saying that Russia didn't blow the pipeline? No. In his personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions, he's telling me that Russia did not blow the pipeline. It was the US. Do you know how he came to this conclusion, Mr. Shakespeare? Does he cite his evidence?
No. Like all good investigative reporters, he is known for protecting his sources, and he has sources probably, I don't know exactly, but probably in the military, in the Pentagon, and there's not everybody in the Pentagon and the White House or, that type of stuff in Washington on the Beltway goes along with the lunacy. So there must have been some conscientious people who put the word in and told him what was going on. So on another interview, he actually said that it wasn't actually that difficult to discover. It wasn't really that hard to find out. So
let's ask, did you have many sources for this pipeline being blown up? Yes, he has several sources. And are they in the US military? Most of them. And how did you find out? They called him. He constantly puts his information out there, like, if you have something to report, call me, right? He's very well known. Were they high-ranking officers that called? Yes, very high-ranking officials that called. Did anybody from the White House call? Yes, somebody from the White House, an insider that he has there, called him to give him this information as well. Did you ask? Yes, he was fishing around for this information. And how did they blow it up, Mr. Shakespeare? Do you know?
Well, there were charges obviously put on the pipes. Apparently there were 8 charges placed on all the pipes. Only 6 actually went off, because the Nordstream pipes, I believe there are actually 4 of them, and they blew up 3. One didn't get touched because the charges they'd failed to detonate. It's very interesting, I mean,
who were the investigators who initially?
Well, Russia originally, nobody really investigated it. Russia originally wanted to, to have it investigated. Of course, they weren't allowed to. They don't want it investigated because it's going to come back to the Biden White House who did this. So, now, can we just hold him for a minute and go on to Mr. Schultz here? Olaf, who's can you grab him, please, Liz?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I have him. Yeah.
Okay. What does he make of the Seymour Hersh report, which lays the blame at the blowing up of the Nord Stream pipeline solely and squarely at the foot of America and Joe Biden?
Okay. What do you think about the Seymour Hersh report? He says, I haven't read it. Okay. But have you heard about it? Yes, he's been informed. And what do you think about it? It's terrible. Do you think there's any truth to it? No, he doesn't believe it.
So who does he think blew up the pipeline then?
So who do you think blew up? Russia.
Okay. Why would Russia blow up their own pipeline when they can just switch it off?
Why would Russia blow up their own pipeline when they can just switch it off? He's like, this is beyond me. So I feel like this kind of level of investigation is over his head. He's not, and I think we got this with him, or certainly somebody else in Europe before. This guy is just a yes man. He just goes with the flow. He's not controversial. He just likes to run things every day. Doesn't like to get involved in scandals and what ifs and investigations. He's very passive.
Okay. Well, he should read the report, and then he'll come to the same conclusion that everybody else has that's read the report, that America blew up the pipeline supplying Germany, which is an act of war against Germany. Does he not understand that?
I do not understand that that's an act of war against Germany. No, he doesn't believe it. He says it's bogus.
Okay. Cognitive dissonance, I think they call this.
Yeah. He is not going to get involved in any type of war, right? And God help Germany if they did have to get involved, because he just isn't a strong leader at all. From what I'm thinking,
he is involved with the war Ukraine because he's sending tanks there. So after originally saying he was only going to send helmets or battle gear, he's now sending tanks. So he is involved.
Well, let's ask, why are you sending tanks? It was recommended to him. He's not making these decisions. It was recommended.
Right.
He's very much an appeaser. Okay. So
Yeah.
if he thinks that, sending tanks is going to stop people from being on his back, then he's just going to appease. He's just an appeaser. He's not really proactive. So he just does as he's told, really.
Okay.
And unfortunately, we have too many of those in power right now.
Yeah, all by design. God, Germany should get rid of him fast and realize, See, the thing is, as Germany goes, Europe goes. So Germany needs to wake up out of their slumber. Right, let's do this guy. Oh, God.
Oh, God. Well, it's early, so I may be able to get a connection. After a certain time in the morning, it's gone. Like it's vacant. It's very difficult to get a connection with him.
Right.
Okay. I didn't know we were probing Biden, but yeah, let's go. He's very slow moving in the morning, by the way.
Okay. Did he order the blowing up, or did he sanction the blowing up of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline?
Well, he may not know that, but I'll ask. Did you sanction the blowing up of the Nord Stream pipeline? He doesn't know. Look, trying to probe Biden is very difficult. He clearly, and you don't need a psychic to tell you this, he clearly has some problems mentally, right? He's gone. He doesn't remember. Let me probe somebody else for him. Does he have to? Yeah, he's got dementia. Okay, who is this Victoria Nuland?
Well, she's the arch neocon under Secretary of State. She's basically the one that runs. This is what people say. In the report from Seymour Hersh, she was part of the process along with Anthony Blinken and what's his name? Can't remember. Anyway, let's probe her.
Okay, and I don't want any nasty gram emails about, oh, Mr. Shakespeare this and Mr. Shakespeare that. He's not feeling well. He's having an off day. Please don't email me about that. Okay, so Victoria Nuland, yeah, she's a late riser. She doesn't get out of bed very early. What would you like to know?
Was she part of the planning of the bombing of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline?
Were you part of the planning of the bombing of the Nord Stream pipeline? No, but she knows someone who is involved.
Was he American?
Is he American? Ooh, so she's saying it's a few nations that got together and orchestrated this. It's not just the Americans.
Okay. Let's probe this guy.
Okay. Who is he?
Anthony Blinken.
And what does he do?
He's the Secretary of State. She's the Undersecretary. He's the Secretary of State. But some people say that she runs him.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Okay. What would you like to know? You know, we're up very early, Mr. Shakespeare. These people are still in bed, which is a good time to probe them.
Okay. Let's ask him the same question. Was he involved in the planning or execution?
Were you involved?
Of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline?
Of the Nord Stream pipeline? No.
Does he know who was?
Do you know who was? Yes, he has his suspicions.
Are they American?
Are they American? I see, here we go again. It's a mixture. So I feel like it's not just America. There's someone else involved. It's a mixture. I feel like there's 3 nations.
England? What about United Kingdom? Were they involved?
Was the United Kingdom involved? Yes.
Was Norway involved?
Was Norway involved? No.
Okay.
Was the other country involved in Europe? No. We're not really getting a lot of concrete evidence here for Seymour Hersh's report. Certainly not from the people we've probed so far. They're just putting forth their personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions. He believes there was 3 nations involved, right? And
yeah, but was one of them America?
Was one of them? Yes. But also, here comes the third one. Do you want to know who it is? Are you ready?
Yeah, go on then. It's New Zealand.
Drum roll. Canada.
Oh, okay.
Does that surprise you?
Well, I haven't read the report, so it might well be in that report. I mean, I've only, picked up on. Most of us suspected the US were behind it from the day after it happened. I mean, we didn't believe the lies that were Russia did it. I mean, we know that Russia didn't do it because it was a massive ecological disaster. And had it have been Russia, the Greens and all these people would have been jumping up and down all over the place because millions of tons of toxins and CO2 was released into the atmosphere. And it's funny that nobody in the Greens and those have said a word. It's like they've all been told to keep mum, keep stum over it.
Well, I mean, you say that Russia could just turn off the pipeline, and that's correct.
Yeah,
but then they don't want to be seen. This is what's coming through to me, is they don't want to be seen as, that cruel that they would just turn it off to Germany. Let's probe Putin. Okay, I'm going to grab Putin. Did you blow up your own Nord Stream pipeline? And do you know, was it Nord Stream 2? Is that the name of it? Did Russia blow up Nord Stream 2? They knew about it. They knew about it for sure. They knew it was going to happen and they didn't stop it.
Right, because at the end of the day, Russia just basically diverts its energy now east. So it's supplying India, China, and everybody else. It's not supplying Europe, Germany. So yes, there's the cost of the replacement of the pipeline, and Germany and Europe go without the energy. But Russia it doesn't really affect Russia because they repipe it the other way. They just sell it to the east.
But they knew it was going to happen.
Well, To be
And they
fair,
didn't prevent it.
Biden even said on one of his press conferences, Biden even said on one of his press conferences, he actually said that, we'll fix it or we'll do. There's a big famous quote, something about Nordstream. If Russia invades Ukraine, Nordstream will be fixed or something. I can't remember exactly what Biden said, but he said it on a public platform. He said it. So, he said he just came out and said,
Unfortunately, we can't ask him because he doesn't remember. And that's a
no.
typical problem when I probe Biden, and that just brings to light about how these probes work, right? So if somebody is a missing person, and I get this a lot, can you probe to see if they're alive? And I'm like, okay, first thing, do they have a mental illness? Are they on drugs or are they on alcohol? Because those three things just hijack the consciousness. And he clearly has a mental condition. Spirit is saying he has dementia. He's not going to live for very much longer. I got news for everybody, even though he's very well taken care of. But you know what's going to happen to Biden? He's just going to slip away very carefully and quietly, right?
Is that before the 2024 election?
Is that before the 2024 election? No, but afterwards, Biden will be under at some point, not too far off in the future, that he will be under 24-hour nursing dementia care, and that will be swept under the rug. That will not make headline news at all. That because everybody knows that, right? We all know.
But the problem is, there we go back again to the American press. The government control the press, and everything has to be done to protect Biden. That's why none of this stuff ever comes out. Does he run in 2024 for president?
Does Biden run in 2024 for president? Does he run? Will he run again? I feel like right now, what I'm getting right now, and this could very well change, but what I'm getting right now is they do want him to run. It's not as if he's making his own decisions, right?
Well,
you have to understand, even when he's out there talking on a podium or doing a speech, he prepares for this over and over and over again.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
What is interesting is, and I want to get David Oates back on. What is interesting is if you go onto David Oates' Facebook page, he constantly, he does reverse speech. And I was reading some of his reversals this morning, and he calls Biden Creepy Joe, right? And every time he does these reversals of Biden speaking, it just comes out very perverted. Everybody should really check it out. Now, reverse speech is not always 100% correct. None of this stuff is. But it's really interesting to see, for those of you that do follow reverse speech, Biden's reversals are very perverted. It's just strange. Okay, so who do we have here? The CIA. Who is he?
This is William Burns, head of the CIA.
Okay.
So, same question. Was he involved, or his agency involved, in the planning or the execution of the blowing up of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline?
Okay, first of all, how much do you know about the Nord Stream 2 pipeline? He's telling me very little. Okay. Do you know who blew it up? Yes, we have our suspicions. Do you believe that it was America? So he doesn't believe it was the U.S.
So who does he think it was then?
Who do you think it was? Who do you think blew up the Nord Stream pipeline? Do you believe it was Russia? He believes it was Russia. Okay. Do you believe that they acted alone? No, he doesn't believe they acted alone. Do you believe that the Ukraine blew up the Nord Stream pipeline? No. Do you believe that the UK did? He believes that the UK are possibly involved. But I'm saying UK and Russia are not, they don't really work together. And he's saying it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I don't have, just connecting with this guy, I don't know too much about him, but again, just another front man.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a while since I've probed Mr. Trudeau.
Okay, let's ask him.
It's been a while. Okay. God, he's cool, yeah. God. All right. Trudeau. Oh, here he is. I've got him again. The last time we probed him, it was all to do with these truckers, right? The truckers and the COVID. Oh, I can't say that. And the C word and and he was very adamant. It was his way or the highway, right? It was my way or nothing. So this will be interesting. It's been a while. What should I ask him?
Same. Was he involved in the planning and the blowing up of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline?
Yes. At least we're getting clear answers now.
Who else was involved?
Who else?
America?
Was America involved? Yes.
Okay. Was England involved?
Was the UK involved?
United Kingdom?
Yes. And also, he's now naming off another country, which I don't understand why this would be. He says Japan.
Really?
Why? Why Japan? Why Japan? Because they have an interest in the oil.
Oh, I see. They would end up with the oil if it wasn't going to Germany. Yeah, okay. Why did Canada get involved with this? What's it got to do with Canada?
Canada get involved with this? To turn the world against Russia.
Yeah, but nobody believes it was Russia.
I think a lot of people do.
Well, okay.
If you poll the average person, I think that they do.
Those people are not on my Christmas card list.
Well, I'm not either, Mr. Shakespeare, because I didn't get a Christmas card from you.
Yeah, but I wished you happy Christmas. It's just better. It's personal.
You did wish me happy Christmas. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So for some reason, no, they needed the Japanese for their expertise as well. Something to do with some sort of how they did this. They needed Japan.
Right. Does he not realize that what they've done was an act of war?
Do you not realize what you've done is an act of war? No, he doesn't. He doesn't see it that way.
Oh, okay.
How do you think Canada's doing at the moment? He's like, Canada's great.
Okay. All right. Well, I might have to do some more research on this, but it sounds like Canada was involved. America was involved. Maybe because, as I understand it, they didn't, because anything like this would have had to go through Congress, and they didn't go through Congress. So they used military contractors or something like that. It wasn't, there's a lot of plausible deniability in America over this. Because anything, only Congress can, declare an act of war or something like that. So the fact they didn't bring Congress into it means that it was, clandestine, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, right. So it wasn't an official declaration of war.
Oh, no.
This was interesting. And again, we invite those of you that know a lot about this or have theories, please drop a question in the YouTube comments. And also, we are currently collecting comments for George Santos. I put that out on the Patreon. We got a few questions drifting in, but we need to know what's behind George Santos. This is so bizarre. So those of you that have questions or comments for George Santos, please, I want to do this big probe on him be sure to put those down in the YouTube field if you're not a subscriber to the Discord or the Patreon. Okay, this is great. We'll stop this one here. Thank you very much.